what is the style of acting that you sort of, what was this, the Meisner?
Yeah, Stanislavski.
Stanislavski.
I think I like the method because, all right, let me put it this way. As a writer, you're a writer, right?
Yeah.
So, do you believe that a writer writes what they know?
No, I believe a writer writes what's channeled into them. I believe what you know helps when it sort of lends to a character's authenticity. For example, if a character comes to me and I'm writing and all of a sudden the character has to change a tire, I know how to change a tire. So that'll help me sort of, validate the character, because I'll give little idiosyncrasies about changing a tire. Where if I'm,
but let's say you have to fly a jet plane, and I'm assuming you don't know how to fly a jet plane, but would you write a character who's flying a jet plane and talk about the gauges and everything that they're using?
I would not. Here's what I would do. I'd write they flew, but I would not get into the technical details. So I would not write about that. The whole fantasy would be like they would be in a jet plane. I would know nothing about how the atmosphere felt, how the breathing apparatus, it was cold or hot, the vertigo. I would know nothing about that. All I would know is in a jet plane, it probably feels like a car. So that's what I'm saying. Yeah.
Well, you could do research. You could interview a jet plane pilot and get some verbiage from them to learn what the air felt like, where the gauges are. You could research your way into learning more about being a jet plane pilot. I could, right?
But what I think it's just that this is true, and some people actually hire people to do that, technical, I guess, advisors or something. Mm-hmm. And a lot of time people won't do that until they get on set. But as an author, mine is so much about being introspective, like the inside world rather than the external world. Mm-hmm. That I'm more about like the character state of mind and how they feel and everything like that. And sometimes I think that the technicalities throws away the sort of nuances that the people need to be experiencing. Like, for example, what's that movie with Fasselbinder? What's that one? Lust. What's the one when he plays the sex addict?
No, I know which one. It's on the tip of my tongue.
What is that? That's
incredible.
He plays somebody with a porn addiction. But it was the intricacies of his porn addiction. What was it called? It's not Lust. It's Sin. What's it called? What is it called? Fasselbinder. He plays a porn addict. I think he's a New York tech guy. He's a tech guy. But what the whole movie was about was, even though he's a tech guy, they didn't go into a lot of the intricacies about his job.
Shame.
So he was a tech guy from Ireland. So two things you didn't really know about him, anything about Ireland. You learned a very little history about him in Ireland when he had an interaction with his sister. And he's a tech guy, but they said nothing about tech. The whole script, or I guess maybe in the book they did, if there was a book. But in the movie, what they really concentrated on is it was character-centric. So a lot of my writing, I don't compare myself to Bukowski at all, but he's a muse of mine in Kerouac. I think a lot of those, especially Bukowski, more went into the internal sort of dynamic going on inside the character. So sometimes I think if you get too technical, it sort of divides the attention of the reader. So I like the reader to just get involved in the character and put on their skin, rather than be a fly on the wall. So I think if you're a fly on the wall, you need to have the technicalities put there so you could draw a better picture, more authentic picture. But that's just how I am,
Well, I ask you that only to answer your question, that I think that my method is to do a little research. If I take the information I'm given. If I have to play a character that is a certain type of character, then I try to research those elements of their character.
Mm-hmm. Well, I'm popular today. Nobody calls me through the whole day, but now everybody's calling. Okay, go ahead.
So I would research those aspects of their character, but then I also filter it through me, because it's still going to be me expressing this character. So, if the person is a French record producer who's retired, then I work on the accent. I work on how would Ray Buffer be as a record producer. How would Ray Buffer be if he lived in Nantes, France for 15 years as a record producer? How would Ray Buffer be if he retired and he had a French accent, he's a record producer, and now he sees new talent on the street? So it's a filtering kind of method, because the script can say one thing, the character description can say one thing, and then it's also my job to listen to what the other people that I'm on camera with are doing and respond to them through that character.
Acting is reacting.
Acting is reacting, right.
Acting is reacting.
So, I mean, you've got to leave yourself open. You've got to be an incredibly good listener. You can't just be like you pompously speaking until you're done speaking. You've got to actually take what they give you, and if it means, maybe reshaping the script a little bit to respond to them, you got to do that within the character that you're given.
Wow, that's another level to it, because when you walk in, you're an actor. The first thing you think is that the lines are the most important thing, and it's really not. It's all about reacting to the lines of the other actors. It's a reaction, because once you say your lines are so stiff until you're picking up energy, but you're so focused on getting your lines right. But it's the reacting. It's the feeling the lines, not actually hearing them. It's the feeling them. Like when somebody says something, it has to sting you. Like if they yell at you, you got to feel like you've really been yelled at. You got to react. You don't even react to it, because your body should just do it because you're there. Like if somebody slaps you across the face, when somebody gets slapped, it's the most sort of not gregarious. It's the over the top reaction to it, because they really go over the top, try to sell it, and you can tell that's somebody who's never been slapped before. If you've really been slapped, your face hardly moves, and there's a pause, almost a shock of surprise. When you watch somebody get slapped in the movie, it's swah, wah, ah, they pulled back on you too. But when you get slapped in real life, it's something that happens very quick and it's very sharp, and it's like your brain's processing, because that's the only time you ever think about, should I react and kill this person? Oh no, they're way bigger than me. So what's another way I can save face? There is no way you can save face. Okay, cry. That's the only reaction to a slap. But so when you get somebody who can execute that for real, and even like the bounce back look of shock and surprise, you slapped me. That's a talent. But you can only get that from knowing it.
And you have to surrender yourself to that other person. You can't say no to them. I mean, that's one of the first rules of improvisation is you say yes. If someone does something unexpected to you, you don't shut them down and question what they're doing. You go with it. Mm-hmm. So you have to surrender to the person that you're in the scene with.
Surrender. I think that's anything in life. Music, comedy, film.
And if you're both surrendering to one another, then sometimes it becomes a dance.
Let me ask you a question, Ray Buffer. What if you surrender to somebody and they surrender to you, but then they stop surrendering all of a sudden? Like you surrender first, okay? Then they surrender. Mm-hmm. Then they attack. What will you do?
Surrender.
Oh wow, wow! It's a hard situation, Ray Buffer.
Yeah.
You win by not playing, right? That's what they say. You win. The winner is somebody who doesn't play.
Well, I mean, the director will come in and say, "Well, hey, you're playing a little passively in this scene. I'd like you to be stronger." And so now you have your marching orders.
Who is the best? Okay. Now, let's not say who. Describe the best director that you've had so far. The best director. And what did they do to make them the best director? To let Ray Buffer be himself as the thespian he is. Or have you not met that director yet?
I have, but I'm just trying to think of different aspects. There's a guy I worked with. This is another Santa thing, but it was a Yankee Candle campaign. Orrin. He was directing me for this webcam series. Basically, during the pandemic, Yankee Candle had a live webcam that kids and families could go to, and they could see Santa in his workshop 24 hours a day. So we essentially filmed 22 hours of Santa footage doing various things. And what I liked about Orrin's approach was that, sometimes he would illustrate, because we're time sensitive, and sometimes it's better if a director just goes in and says, okay, here's the hammer, here's this, I want you to do this, and then want you to kind of, do a little improv that's very Santa-esque, So basically he would provide me with some specifics, then he'd tell me when I had like a little open field of time to fill, and then he'd give me my out, okay, and then I want you to do some more specifics, and then walk across camera and exit the scene. And I'm going to film you doing this for maybe 2.5 minutes. So it gave me my parameters. It let me know. Because sometimes when not necessarily a bad director, but sometimes a director doesn't communicate well, leaves things too open-ended, and I think it wastes time, because then you're doing things wrong, and they have to cut, and then they have to say, well, okay, and then just sharpen it a little bit, and then it's like you do another take, and it's still not quite right. But if a director can kind of know exactly what they want in a scene and give it all to you at that same time, it allows... It's better productivity for the whole crew, because you don't have to do as many takes. So a lot of times I could be one take Ray. You tell me to do it one way, I do it one way, one take, we're done.
Ray, where have they called you one take Ray?
My girlfriend called me.
I don't know if that's a good thing. I don't know if that's good, Ray. I don't know if that's good. Well, let's just leave that open-ended. Okay, so communication, you say, is big with the director. Communication. So, because when I believe the little short things I did, I always thought my job was to create the image, and the actor's job was the act. So as long as the actors were falling into sort of the guidelines of the scene, I was cool. I didn't even say anything to the actors. I just think, okay, if I take enough shots of this actor going through this part, eventually I'll get something that connects to the scene. And if not, I just won't use it. So that's what I did. I went through and I shot. I'd have an actor do a thing over and over. And sometimes they get it the first one. You feel it here. It goes through your eyes, but you feel it right here. And if it feels right there, if it touches right there, okay, one take. Or I'll try 3 takes, try a different angle, and then all of a sudden I'll just take it into editing, and it's like, maybe sometimes in camera it didn't look that good, but then all of a sudden in editing it's like, wow. Like some of the best shots are the most unflattering shots. Like the beautiful shot that you lined up to take, that'll be the shot you can't use because it looks too static, or it looks not organic. But sometimes that shot, the experimental shot, you get in their face shot with the lights, like pretty much I think how your camera looks now. And it's like, whoa, that's magic. Like, whoa, that brought something else to it. It hit somewhere else. Like, it went beyond my eyes. Every shot I take has to go beyond my eyes. It has to go down here. Mm-hmm. If I think a shot is good, then I'm killing myself. It has to be here, and you have to love it. You have to love it because every image on a film should be beautiful. There should be no wasted shots. Every shot should be a frame of art. Then the actor comes in and they paint their part. The cinematographer paints their part. Then afterwards, the editor paints their part. Then they underlie the music. So everybody paints their part. Everybody comes by and works on it. It's just the main... Honestly, I hate to say this, the main thing that sells a lot of parts are the actors. Because you can put a good actor on a video camera, and they can just kill it. You can take the worst actor in the world and you can put them in a $1 million set and it don't work. That's why all these reality stars, Kelly and Justin, all them, they don't work. They're beautiful people. Millions of dollars to spend on production, but boom, camera doesn't like them. The atmosphere doesn't accept the words they say. They can't speak legitimate. The camera angle's wrong, or so many things go into it. So like Pieces of April. They lost the funding for that. That has Derek Luke and Katie Holmes, and it's basically shot with a video camera, but shot like a movie. Like it's not like a documentary style. It's like they still shot it like a movie. The different far, broad, far, wide, extreme, close. They still shot it in movie format. But because sometimes when you got a video, you try to cheat, make it like a docu-movie or docu-series. They said, nah, forget that. We're just going to still shoot it like a movie, and it still came out like the 4 walls of a movie. Just because the acting was so good. Like, the acting really resonated. And who had Oliver Pratt. So these are heavyweight actors. These are beasts. These are like professional athletes. Oliver Pratt walks on your set. Good luck going lines. A lot of times you probably have to just read offline. He'll act. Like the director just filmed him doing his line, and you have to come in later because you can't. He'll make you look horrible. Mm-hmm. So he'll just have the director just line you up, have you say it 25 times, and splice it in. So to go back and forth is like a trained beast.
And good editing can fix a lot of things. Bad editing can ruin a lot of things. I was just in a film, I'm not going to name it, but it's not that great. And I think it's primarily because of the editing, because you get these moments where an actor says their line, then there's a pause. Yeah. And then the next person says their line, and there's a pause. Yeah. But good editing lines seamless. It up so that it's seamless and it sounds conversational. But if it's bad editing, you get all these enormous pauses that have no need, that have no purpose, and it just throws you completely out of whatever story they're trying to develop.
The editing has to be seamless because, like I say, anything throws you from that fantasy scenario, and anything throws you from that. So, what's been your most favorite character to play? Is it Santa Claus, or do you have another famous character?
It seems like I should, because, the chestnuts are a nice fringe benefit.
What the heck?
I should require chestnuts on every Santa gig I do.
Well, good luck with that, Ray.
But I'm a character actor, so, I do a lot of Santa work. I do Frankenstein, I do creatures, and I do thugs and some of the other kind of character types that we've talked about, but I like playing just a dad on something too, or
I can see that,
or a doctor or a lawyer.
You'd be good. You'd be a good dad.
It's like whatever. I wouldn't say there's a favorite. I did get to play an alien villain. I'm looking forward to that film coming out. It's called The Rising. And it's a short film, but it's nice to be the antagonist in a movie.
Not bad guy.
Not the fourth thug from the left, but actually the primary bad guy. So.
That fourth thug has a reason to be there.
And to be on the left.
Yes.
He's probably dyslexic or something.
It is all esoteric symbolism. The fourth thug might be something that opens up some kind of trigger in the brain, like, three thugs would have been good, but the fourth thug... murder them all. It just might be like something like that. So this is scientific. So it's very interesting, Ray Buffer. Very, very interesting. So remember, we